So should I strength train if I have pain? In most cases, yes. Almost without fail, yes. There are very, very few cases where a person shouldn't be strength training. And I would argue that even many cases where doctors tell you not to strength train, you probably should still be strength training. The research just overwhelmingly supports incorporating resistance training, strength training into basically a health regimen. So if you are trying to maintain bone mineral density, if you're trying to maintain muscle mass as you age, if you're trying to actually get out of pain, there are a lot of benefits to incorporating strength training just for the sake of pain, much less all of the other factors that help prevent injury. So if you have pain in a specific area, typically what I would suggest, since a personal trainer is not really qualified to specifically work on a pain area or work on healing a specific area, it's not really within our scope of practice. Instead, my encouragement would generally be to work around that pain. So do things that you can do rather than focusing on what you can't do. Sometimes that's a matter of like just skipping a certain muscle group or skipping a certain movement pattern that typically will cause pain in an area. So if you have pain in your lower back, maybe you're not doing hip hinging type movements, maybe you're not doing deadlifts, or if you're doing rows, you're doing them supported so that the lower back doesn't take a lot of that horizontal shear force. Or maybe if it's like a knee, maybe you're not doing a lot of deep knee bending. Maybe if you're doing any kind of knee bending, you're doing it open chain where you don't have the foot connected to the floor, but instead you have that leg lifted. So there are lots of workarounds for whenever you have pain or whenever you have injury. If you have a serious lower body injury, you could just work upper body or vice versa. So I would never, in pretty much any case, suggest not doing strength training if you have pain. Instead, I would start with working around where your issues lie. And then as you become more comfortable, as you have less pain, which is a big possibility, or as you become more confident in your ability to lift safely, then you can start gradually working on maybe small ranges of motion in the areas that produce pain, or just at least experimenting with, okay, what can I do within this range of motion, with this muscle group, with this joint, with this movement pattern that maybe doesn't cause me pain. Because it could be that doing a body weight version of a certain exercise doesn't bother you, but doing a weighted version does. Well, body weight training is still resistance training, so it could be that maybe going that route would be better for you. And then maybe it could be that you can load it a little bit, but you can't go through as much range of motion. And there's a time and a place for everything, so maybe that's something that you work on as well. So generally, you would want some guidance with this kind of thing. It is very difficult to do on your own. Pain is such a multifaceted issue. It is physical, but it is also psychological. And sometimes it can also become very emotional because you don't want to be in pain. So typically you want to have a professional working with you to work around that pain. But just know there's always a workaround. So even if you can't work a specific area that's in pain, you can work on something else that maybe doesn't cause you as much pain.